Liam and Chloe gazed at each other from across the small, intimate table. For the young couple, the evening was flawless. The food was exquisite. The soft glow from the candles cast a warm, gentle light, and the quiet melody of a distant piano was perfect. Liam was mesmerized by Chloe's radiant smile. In that moment, all the lingering pain from his last breakup seemed to dissolve. All his deep-seated doubts and fears about love vanished. His hand instinctively reached out, gently covering hers on the white tablecloth. "I need to ask you something." Liam searched her eyes, wondering if she could sense the gravity of the moment. Her smile, unwavering and bright, gave him the courage he needed. She squeezed his hand in return. "Don't be so nervous. Whatever it is, the answer is probably yes." A jolt of excitement surged through him. He was on the verge of asking the most significant question of his entire life. From a shadowed corner of the restaurant, a strange man observed them. He sat perfectly still at his table, a menu held open in his hands, but his eyes weren't on the words. Instead, his cold, piercing gaze was fixed solely on the young couple, back at their table. A wave of anxiety suddenly washed over Liam. "Excuse me for a moment," he said to Chloe. He pushed his chair back and made his way to the restroom. Staring at his reflection in the mirror, he gave himself a silent pep talk. "Come on, Liam. You can do this. She's completely in love with you." Feeling a renewed sense of determination, he exited the bathroom, nearly colliding with an exceptionally tall man who was waiting just outside the door. The man's eyes were a chilling, bright blue. His face was unnaturally pale with a sharp, pointed nose and thin, bloodless lips. "Oh, sorry about that," Liam said, stepping aside. "Which one?" the man hissed. His voice carried a strong, peculiar accent that Liam had never heard before. For a second, Liam was utterly confused. Then he understood what the strange man meant. "Oh, this one," Liam said helpfully, gesturing to the door he had just come from. "This is the men's restroom." Liam returned to the restaurant, his hand reaching into his pocket for the small box containing the ring. It was time. The taxi ride home was a blissful dream. The newly engaged couple talked excitedly about their future life together, sharing their deepest feelings for one another. "The night I asked you to be my wife," said Liam, his voice filled with wonder. "The night I said yes," Chloe replied, her head resting on his shoulder. "Just imagine, our entire lives ahead of us, sharing and caring," he began, "loving and giving." Chloe finished his sentence perfectly. They looked at each other, their faces alight with loving excitement. "You are so incredible," said Liam. "And you are absolutely beautiful," said Chloe. "I've never known anyone so lovely and kind. I am so happy I could just start singing right now." They entered their apartment building, still holding hands. From the deep shadows across the street, the tall man watched them. Which one, he mused to himself. He kept his eyes on the building, waiting for a light to appear, a sign to show him which apartment was theirs. A minute passed, then two. There it was. A light flickered on in a third-floor window. He caught a brief glimpse of Chloe as she drew the curtains closed. How many times had he stood on a corner just like this one? How many victims had he watched, unaware of their fate? So many corners, so many victims. His pale lips twisted into a thin, cruel smile. He glided out of the shadows, crossed the street to the building's entrance, and began pressing the buzzers for every single apartment. The vampire always found it amusing when his prey lived in flats. Sooner or later, someone would always let him in. Foolish humans. They always assumed you were a pizza delivery for a neighbor. It was a form of invitation, and an invitation was all he required to enter a home. He ascended the stairs to the third floor, his steps making no sound on the worn carpet. He could hear the young couple laughing and talking inside. He pressed his ear to the cool wood of the door, listening intently. What he heard made him smile. Young love. It always produced the sweetest blood, so vibrant and full of life force. "I feel like I'm in a movie," she was saying. "More like a dream," he replied. "Yes, a dream. How did we get so lucky? Guess who I'll be dreaming about tonight," he said playfully. "Your hair smells like spring flowers. you're like an angel." Their beautiful dream was about to curdle into a living nightmare, the listening vampire thought. With a sudden, silent twist of the knob, he opened the door and stood in the doorway, revealing his long, sharp teeth. The couple screamed, a single, unified sound of pure terror, then clung to each other in horrified silence. The vampire could smell their fear, a scent as potent and intoxicating as a fine wine. This was just how he liked it. Fear also had a way of making the blood sweeter. "My wallet is on the table there. Take it." Liam stammered. "Take anything you want." "I will take anything I want," the vampire replied, his voice a low growl. "Fine, fine. We won't try to stop you, I promise." Liam cried out. "You won't stop me, I promise," the vampire echoed, his voice stripping with menace. The light from the lamp glinted off his sharp fangs. A single, terrible thought struck Liam and Chloe at the exact same moment. "Look at his teeth, is he a vampire?" "Which one?" the vampire hissed, taking a step into the room. "It can be only one." The couple's eyes were wide with terror, their mouths agape in shock. They gripped each other's hands, a cold dread filling their stomachs. "Already tonight," the vampire continued, his voice smooth and conversational, "I have drunk from 3. One more is all I need. Then I can sleep and feel young once more." The vampire glided towards them. Instinct took over, and Liam stepped in front of Chloe, shielding her with his body. Chloe gratefully held onto his back, peering over his shoulder. The vampire was in no rush. He had all the time in the world. Who should he choose? He wondered. "Which one?" "Thank you," Chloe whispered into Liam's ear. "For what?" "For what you're doing for me. Of course, my love. I'm here to protect you." He felt a surge of pride as he said the words. He could fight this creature. All he needed was a weapon, a piece of wood, anything sharp to drive through its heart. He frantically scanned the room. "You're so brave to offer yourself," Chloe continued quietly. "Sorry?" Liam asked, turning his head slightly. "What are you talking about?" "Oh," said Chloe, her voice losing its warmth. "I just assumed that, with your great love for me and everything." Liam and the vampire exchanged a brief, confused glance. "Now, listen, Chloe. There is absolutely no doubt about my love for you." "Really?" she replied, her tone laced with disbelief. "But you can't seriously expect me to just let you give him my life." "I wasn't saying you should," she shot back. "It's just one of our options, that's all." "Well, think of another one," he shouted, his voice cracking. "Why don't you offer yourself to him to save me?" The atmosphere in the room had soured completely. The vampire was not pleased. The delicious cocktail of love and fear had been replaced by this petty, selfish bickering. Chloe was furious. "I hope you're joking. Let's really see how strong your precious love is." "What a horrible man. And what about the woman I was planning to marry? Offering me to a vampire like a piece of meat to a wolf." "You said my hair smells like spring flowers," she cried. All right, relax." Liam was deeply embarrassed to be having this argument in front of a complete stranger, vampire or not. "You called me an angel," she continued shouting. "I must drink." The vampire bellowed, his patience finally snapping. He lunged closer, wanting to make a quick kill and escape these insufferable people as fast as possible. His eyes widened and his fangs were fully bared. "Which one?" "Her." Liam pointed a trembling finger at his future wife. Him. Chloe screamed in a fit of rage. "Please, take him." The vampire advanced on Liam. "She's younger. Her blood will be sweeter." Liam pleaded. The vampire turned to Chloe. "He's bigger. There's much more of him," she yelled, pointing at Liam. Suddenly, the vampire felt an immense wave of exhaustion wash over him. He had been killing for countless centuries, but listening to them was profoundly depressing. How could he derive any pleasure or sustenance from drinking the blood of either of these disgusting, pathetic creatures? He looked down at their terrified, pleading faces and shouted, "Bad blood." And with that, he dissolved into a wisp of night air, leaving Liam and Chloe alone together, just as they had promised for the rest of their lives.